War is raging, government is stealing our freedom, food processing plants are burning, and gun sales are through the roof. You're in the right place. This is...
I talked to a student recently at one of our woke college campuses who said she is required in every class to introduce herself and to give her pronouns. Well, I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I guess I'm a little too close. I tell you, folks, I think every time I turn my computer off and turn it back on, settings change. I don't know. Maybe Ooman has an answer as to the why. The absolute why. Folks, it has been one heck of an SHTF day. It truly has been one heck of an SHTF day. I guess I'll just sit back and relax a little bit. We've got a lot to cover. A lot of things have happened. Put your questions down below. Let's get into this. The thing that's upsetting me the most right now is that there are Americans in South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee that have been abandoned by the government. And on top of that, local law enforcement is threatening to arrest people for trying to help, for wanting to help, for wanting to take in food, rescue people, using mules, helicopters, whatever they got. And they're being threatened with arrest. The federal government says there's no more money. Sorry, nothing for you Americans. In fact, there's no more money for the rest of hurricane season, which is for 2 more months. Thank you, man. It's been very frustrating watching what's going on. And then the rumors that property is going to be confiscated. They're going to kick people out of these areas, and that there are huge lithium deposits in the North Carolina, Asheville region. I don't know if that's true or not. You know, there are a lot of conspiracy theories that swirl about, but we're going to have to keep an eye on this. Now, what I do know and have experienced personally on the West Coast was the claim that, well, people are damaging our delicate natural forests, national forests, state forests, etc. So they're going to close the roads. And they did that. They stopped us, the people, from using trails, roads that go into national forests, state forests, national parks. And then people couldn't get in there. They now controlled it. They can do whatever they want with it. We've got no access. That's the Kamala Harris government. That's the Green government. That's the United Nations government. That's the World Economic Forum government. That's the globalist government. That's the Bilderberg government. The government that wants to keep you out of everything and right where they want you or just kill you. And the mainstream media is a complicit, absolutely complicit participant. Now, other big news that has happened. The debate last night was incredible. J.D. Vance, vice presidential nominee for the Republicans, faced off against Twinkle Toes Tampon Timmy Walls. And the moderators this time for CBS were 2 women who joined in the effort, just as at the Trump debate, those moderators didn't moderate, they chose a side. Interestingly, J.D. Vance took on 3 women and he defeated them in the debate. Unheard of. That's the hat trick of arguing, to beat 3 women at once. So the moderators tried a gotcha moment by bringing up J.D. Vance's comments from the past about Trump. And that was a mistake, folks, because J.D. Vance turned it around on them. Here's the quote that he responded to them for. He says, "I was wrong. He admitted he was wrong about Trump. First of all, because I believe some of the media stories that turned out to be dishonest fabrications of his record. It was literally a perfect response, folks. He put the blame where it belonged. Listening to and trusting the mainstream media as if they're a source of fact. Never again. Never again in my life am I going to trust those morons to anything. There's no reason to. There's no evidence that suggests that they're going to tell or speak the truth at any time. Ever. Hey, would you look at that? My camera controller is working. Well, ooh, man, something good happened out of my computer trying to crash. Anyways, what did you think of the the debate? I've been posting as much as I can, reposting, retweeting, putting stuff on YouTube as much as I can. This morning, it was a rough morning. I apologize for missing the Zero Dark 30. Hopefully, we're done with this. Folks, if you haven't got your health, you haven't got anything. So make sure you've got your health taken care of. And if you don't have a good perspective mentally, make sure you get that taken care of. And get this, folks. A former aide to President Bill Clinton was speechless. This man's name was Doug Schoen. I've seen him speak many times, years and years and years ago. He said that Kamala Harris's speech, her talking, was disgusting. No, wait. I said her speech was disgusting. He says that she had, quote, cavalier indifference to the plight of the hurricane victims. I think that is disgusting. They're completely ignoring what's going on in North Carolina while they campaign to try and win the presidency. Elon Musk is there making sure the internet is happening. People are doing drive-alongs with their Starlink internet, regular people, and allowing police cars to use it for purposes of communication because there's so much trouble there. And Kamala Harris is a disgusting pig. Cavalier indifference. Even Doug Schoen was speechless. What do you think of what's going on? Right? We were told in 2020, trust the experts. Do you remember that? I certainly do. Trust the science. We need to listen to experts. I thought about this today as I read this. Because Tim Walz, Twinkle Toes, Tampon Timmy, Marxist governor of Minnesota, claimed that people need to trust the experts. J.D. Vance says, quote, they were wrong. Yeah, the experts were wrong. Now, I want to bring this out. Last time we were told that experts said the pandemic means we need to stay home. We need to do this, do that, shut down, kill, just kill everything in America, around the world, everything, because the experts said so. I am going to take this opinion into the next so-called crisis. I want everyone to understand that no expert has control of my constitutional rights. Are you going to give experts control of you and your rights? Understand, folks, they are not experts. They're people with opinions. And there's something else about the Constitution that occurred to me just today. There's this thing about letters of marque and reprisal and titles of nobility. Now, in England and Europe and other places around the world, those people with titles of nobility, prince or princess, king or queen, duke, duchess, baron, baroness, count or countess, earl, these titles of nobility, sire, lord, bullshit. In America, the United States of America, we don't have titles of nobility, and they aren't granted special favor. And the word expert is not a title of nobility, though they tried saying it was. This expert says, so you must obey. Folks, their opinions are not superior to my rights or your rights or anybody's. They tried making the term expert a title of nobility so that they could, as your lords and masters, tell you what to do. That is precisely what the Constitution spoke about. That's precisely what the Declaration of Independence was pointing at, among many other things, of course. But this idea that, well, they're experts, bullshit. They are a bunch of fuckheads with opinions, just like, hear me out, just like these so-called climate scientists are experts. Every single one of them is being funded, being paid off to give us their expert opinion, as if they're superior to us, and therefore in a position to tell us what to do and control our lives. Do you see the fight we're in? Now, these so-called authorities, well, John, we don't have experts and titles of nobility, but we have government officials. Officials, no, nowhere in the Constitution does it say officials can cancel your rights. Officials can lie and have it become the truth. You must obey the officials. No, there's nothing in the Constitution about obeying officials, folks. Nothing. There are no government officials and agents that are above the law. Anyway, speaking of these people and their lying, Tampon Timmy last night in the debate was asked about lying. That's right, lying. They actually asked him. I was stunned like that. I was like, they asked him about lying. Why he said he was in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square massacre. He fumbled, he bumbled, he rattled a bunch of shit off. Essentially, Tampon Boy admitted that he lied. He wasn't there. It's funny, all of his lies, he ultimately comes out and says, well, I misspoke. I accidentally said something the wrong way. I guess I really wasn't there. It's incredible, folks. Incredible. I mean, these people are showing they're retarded. When I said that there's some kind of mental conditions with those who have been vaccinated, did I not say that, well, a lot of people have mega clots in their systems, and it causes serious cardiopulmonary and neurological issues, right? Their bodies are fucked up. Well, then I talked about microclots. It just takes one tiny bit of clot. It just needs to be sufficiently bigger than a capillary, the width of a blood vessel in the brain, and it'll clog, and they call them spike proteins, is it? So that means that they're what? They got a spike and they're sticky. However this works. People who have taken the Jim Jones juice get microclots. These microclots get stuck in their brain, and it's killing their brains. Slowly, progressively, they're losing their minds. Last night in the debate, old Twinkle Toes told Americans, quote, I've become friends with school shooters. Why would anyone become friends with school shooters? This morning, media captured or caught up to Tim Walz, vice presidential nominee to Kamala Dumbass Harris, and asked him, and he absolutely refused and ignored the question. You know, what's it like? Why did you become friends? How are you friends with school shooters? People who are the victims and survivors of school shootings are outraged over this. Outraged. I read one report. I don't believe it, but hell, fuck, maybe it's true. Stranger things have happened. Apparently, Kamala Harris has lost 4 more points to Trump because of this devastating debate, the results. It was a no contest. It really was no contest. Tim Walz was schooled. And I did see a joke that, well, after all, J.D. Vance is married to an attorney, so He has lots of practice arguing all the time. I found that very humorous. But that's the results, folks. People are disgusted with what happened in that debate. People are shocked. Even CNN, some CNN reporters said, "Oh yeah, that was a big win for Trump and Vance." Crazy, folks. Now, I was mentioning the Constitution a few moments ago. The Constitution. We have a federal or national constitution. We have state constitutions. And the Constitution is exactly what it is. It creates the government. It limits the government, and it tells the government specifically, explicitly, intentionally, and loudly that we have rights. Rights. So in the state of California, Gavin the Joker Newscom said, hey, I am, as governor, banning voter ID laws throughout California. No district can make a law having anything to do with the election. Well, the mayor of California's City has basically told Governor Newsom to go fuck himself. That's right. This is what Mayor Vandermark told the media. Quote, the state, and this is either California or Washington, D.C., the state cannot pass any laws that strip us of our constitutional rights. So that law, meaning the law that Gavin Newsom signed, that law does not apply to us or affect our new election laws. So if a city has a right to pass a law, then the state can't tell them, right, you can't do that. This is where we get into America's unique system of, local, state, and national laws, right? Which laws are more important? Which ones work, right? What it comes down to is, what are my rights as a person, as a human being, as a natural born citizen? I have the right to speak, worship, defend myself, own property. I have a right to my privacy from government intrusion, abusive government, punishment by government, all of those things. So the city or a city or county or state or even federal government cannot strip me of my rights. I'm glad that the city is fighting. That's great. But expect more, folks. This means war. It really does. We are at war with the federal government in D.C., with Democrat governments, cities, people, bureaucrats, and then local as well. And not only do we have to deal with government, not only are the free people of the United States of America and Canada and other countries, not only are the free people at war with government, we're at war with the occupants within these countries, our country. That would be the illegal aliens that are here, the legal aliens that are here that want to destroy America, Democrats who are here that want to destroy America. And then there's these special interest groups and non-government organizations like BLM, Antifa, and other groups that hate America. And then there's non-organized groups like the LGBTQIA pedophile groups. They're at war with us. Get this. Are you prepared for this one? I don't know. Carrie Lake, right, ran for governor in Arizona, is now running for Senate. Her daughter was violently attacked by a tranny, by a transgender, by a fruit salad, fruitcake piece of shit. Right? The police report identified Rebecca Kimple. Only it wasn't born Rebecca Kimple. It's a man. It's a man, baby. It's got a dick. A man pretending to be a woman attacked Carrie Lake's daughter violently. Fortunately, he's charged with assault. But understand the war we're in. When a Senate candidate's daughter is attacked by a violent transgender fruitcake, should we be surprised? Hey, should we be upset? Or is this just how they're going to act? Now, speaking of trannies and fruitcakes, a third university has now said we're not playing San Jose State in volleyball because they have a man on their volleyball team. 3 of them have now stepped down and said, you know what? Not doing it, not going to play. We forfeit, fuck you. And I think this is a good thing. Hey, you want to let men play? Fine. You want to have a co-ed team? Fine. But we're not going to play with you guys. Right? Women are continuing to be injured, severely injured, hospitalized, and even crippled by playing sports with men. When I say crippled, I mean completely disabled. Their lives destroyed. There's a difference between men and women. And there's a difference between, well, mentally deranged lunatics in the LGBTQIA pedophile groups. Now, also today, I mean, there's been a lot going on today. Get your questions down below. We've got a lot to talk about. There are now 120 new sexual assault lawsuits that are being filed against Sean P. Diddy Combs. Did you catch that today? This sleazy-looking, grease-back-haired lawyer, I mean, what do you expect? This lawyer, maybe he's a good attorney, I don't know. Maybe he's a nice guy, I don't know. But when I looked at him, I thought, that dude's a lawyer. But this lawyer says that, and his name is Tony Busby. He says that P. Diddy's accomplices, people that, well, participated in these sexual crimes, sexual assault means rape, include major bank employees, major pharmaceutical employees. This guy says, quote, the names will shock you. I tell you what, whoever's named in this lawsuit, this needs to be unsealed, not sealed. Or is Oprah going to start Arkansiding people? Is Hillary going to start Arkansiding people? This is huge. I don't know what's the bigger story. Is the bigger story the presidential race? Is the bigger story the P. Diddy bullshit? Is the bigger story the devastation by a hurricane that has just fucked over multiple states and millions of people? Is the bigger story that Iran launched missiles into Israel again? And so there's some question about what's going to happen there. My thoughts on that? Hey, if you got specific questions, information, opinions, predictions, get them in the question down below. We're live on the preparedmind.club and subscribestar.com. You can sign up for premium video Monday through Friday attendance. You want to call that? You want to be here live every single day? It's only $2 a month. So welcome here, folks. We have lots of you here. My thought is Israel is going to respond. They will respond to this attack by Iran. Iran is no longer using Hamas. Iran is no longer using Hezbollah. Iran is now directly launching missiles into Israel. Here's my prediction. The Ayatollah Ali Khomeini, or whatever the current leader of that religious regime, whatever that name is, I think he is going to be smoked first, wherever he, she, it is. I don't know how he identifies. Wherever that person is, I think they're going to get assassinated one way or another, and they'll be target number one. take out the leadership. Target number 2, take out the Iranian National Guard that supports and protects the theocratic, that is, religious government of Iran. The Persian people of Iran want to be free. They want to be free from, shall we say, the backwards-assed, barbaric, worthless religion there. They don't like it. Would you like it if someone forced their religion down your throat? Oh, wait a minute. You're Americans. You're having to have that forced down your throat by the Democrats, by the woke media, the entertainment industry. They're forcing shit down our throats, and they're trying to criminalize free speech. More on that in a minute. They're going to take out the leader first, then the military. But I don't think they're going to take out Iran's nuclear power facilities. I don't think Israel is going to take out critical infrastructure. The reason is I don't think Israel blames the Persian Iranian people. I think they blame the regime, the leadership. And that's who they're going to take out as surgically as possible. But Iran just launched missiles into Israel willy-nilly, killing women, children, civilians, blowing up businesses. Whatever their bombs and missiles hit, they didn't give a shit. Where's the United Nations? Where's all the peaceniks and beatniks and all the lovers of human rights? Interesting. Now, because I look at this as if they launched missiles into Florida and were killing and destroying Floridians and Floridian businesses and Florida's natural habitats and infrastructure. I would be very, very angry. But I wouldn't blame the Iranian people. I would blame the leadership, the military, and the government. Now, where else am I going with this? I just had a topic and it slipped my mind. There's just so much going on out there. So much going on. I don't know why we can't have, let's see, P. Diddy spill the beans, tell us all the names, release all the Epstein names. I don't know why we can't have that. I don't know why they can't fly in food. I don't know why the government, the federal government, won't allow the National Guard, won't allow the Army, which is in North Carolina, the Marine Corps, which is in North Carolina, why they don't allow them to use their helicopters. There's a helicopter base in Beaufort, North Carolina. At least there was when I was a jarhead, right next to Camp Lejeune. They can fly helicopters in there to help rescue people and to drop off supplies for those who are behind, right, the washed out roads, the destroyed bridges. They're not allowing the military. They're not allowing the National Guard. They're not allowing help. Why can't all these things be handled? They could be doing that while Immigrations and Customs Enforcement and Border Patrol just shuts down the border, stops everybody. Why police and local officials everywhere can't just take the illegals and send them back. We can do all these things at once. Meanwhile, maybe they're trying to hide this. Over in Ukraine, Russia is defeating the Ukrainian Nazi military and kicking them out of Donetsk, the territory or province of Donetsk. Huge, massive victory for Russia. Well, I remember just a week and a half ago hearing on the mainstream media that Ukraine was winning, that Russia's going to have to surrender, that Russia's out of troops, that Russia's out of equipment and bombs and missiles and planes. Russia is defeated. And here we are with this. And I guess I'll end my little tirade here, my little rant, with the footage of the Kentucky sheriff gunning down the judge. Have we discussed this? Remember last week? I didn't forget. Judge is in his chambers. The sheriff, not a deputy, but the sheriff, walks in and apparently saw something on the phone of the judge. Now, the story, or rather the report, is that the judge and the sheriff were enjoying a lunch break, and they were just talking. I guess this is the video footage. It just appears that they're talking, and something happens, and the judge says, "We need to go to my chambers and talk." Something like that. So they go to the judge's chambers, which actually looks like a fucking jail cell. And after a few moments, the sheriff puts a bullet in him, or two, or three, and makes sure that he's dead. Right? Something was on the judge's cell phone. Something. Now, we still don't have all the facts, folks, but it's quite interesting. It's claimed or surmised. Okay, now it's very personal. That, the question was the sheriff's phone number on the judge's phone? Did the sheriff see text messages between the judge and the sheriff's daughter? Somehow the wife was involved in this as well. The wife and daughter. Were they being threatened with arrest over some other corruption that was going on? Well, be that as it may, the judge is dead for whatever part he played. And the sheriff, well, he played his part as well. I guess you could say he played his part as well as he could. All right. I tell you. What do you guys want to talk about? It is the Prepared Mind channel. It is our afternoon show. Get your questions in, and here we go with the Inner Circle. Absolutely weird. After weeks of my computer being ridiculous, and continue to be ridiculous, I reboot it before the show, and now everything seems to be operating properly, including my camera functions. Well, thanks, man. Great suggestion. What did you suggest? Yeah. Get your browser up to date there, John. All right. Thanks, man. Now, I'm hoping we have lots of questions today. I've got a lot of questions. I've got a lot of answers, too. And, of course, I have many, many opinions. What a show. What a world. It is a shit show, in case you were wondering. And it is an SHTF show. All right, Mr. Uman, who wants to be the lucky number one? And it is Nancy Keg. And she says, love hearing the government telling the people to stop helping, but all the people helping are saying to the government, go to hell. Help is needed. Help now. I tell you what, yeah, when you need help, it's not, I need help when the government gets around to it. I need help when the government's got the time. I need help if the government wants to, do its job. No, help means help. I got you. Now, the government has said, we don't have money to help. Donate money. So the government gives our money away to Ukraine and other nations. And they put a gun in our face and say, give us your money. And then they turn around and give it to other countries. They don't even give it to Americans. I would feel better about my taxes I paid knowing it went to help Americans. Not foreigners, not illegal aliens, not criminals here. Right? But people are saying, you know what? Fuck you to the government. And they are actually going in with pack mules and horses. They're actually taking their own helicopters in. They're actually taking their own four-wheel drives in and helping people. And I did catch this one message on the internet. As part of our preps, follow me here, we need to have cans of spray paint. This is something that I do not have. Spray paint. I mean, I've got some, but I need bright ass orange spray paint. Something highly visible. So bright orange, red. So you can spray on plywood or sheets or even the ground a message that can be read from the air, or sprayed on a wall so it can be read from a distance if you need help. And also for SHTF, a warning to keep people away, as in spraying on a piece of plywood. Don't come down this road, this driveway, this street, unless you live here. You know, nice warning. Anyways, I found that to be interesting. But yeah, people are helping, folks, and they don't care. People are helping local government that is doing its job, and people are telling government that isn't helping and trying to stop them to go pound sand. And any government official that threatens any American for wanting to help, well, guess what? That government official needs to be locked up. They need to be thrown in fucking jail. Of course, you know what their excuse is. And I want to make sure everyone understands that. Well, we can't have regular people going out there trying to help, because what happens if they get stuck and they need help? Now they're taking valuable government resources away from those who are actually already in trouble. Well, it's the government that is the cause of this problem. And I'm not just talking about manipulating and increasing weather events. I'm talking about the fact that government has done a piss poor job of maintaining the infrastructure because they're too busy padding their own pockets and their own retirement benefits. They're too busy paying for that and paying attention to that and giving money to illegals to actually go around and make sure that our dams, rivers, highways, bridges, tunnels are safe, strong enough. You know, it's just as an example. In Sacramento, back when I lived there, decades ago, working in the industry of heavy construction, they were having to go through and dredge all the rivers out. No, I take that back. They did not dredge the rivers out. They were reinforcing the levees. They don't want to dredge the rivers because, you know, toxic materials could be down in that soil in the riverbeds, and they don't want to get that all loose. Well, what happened is they originally went through and they cleaned all the riverbeds out, stacked up the river, and made these levees, right? And not even 100 years later, they're falling apart. And so fields are getting flooded, neighborhoods are getting flooded, even downtown Sacramento being flooded. Well, they had to turn around and spend money to rebuild all these levees. Well, they should be doing that across the country for everything instead of spending money on worthless fucking wars. It's maddening and frustrating, folks. Government is going to continue to make very poor decisions. Trust me. If there's one thing you can believe that I say, it's that government is going to continue to make very bad decisions. So get prepared. Uman, who is next? We've got Uman is next. He says, CNN reporting there is a toilet paper shortage. Not because of actual shortages, but because panic buying. The great toilet paper shortage 2.0 is coming. 90% of it is coming from US, Canada, and Mexico. I want to know, do we make toilet paper in America? Are we importing toilet paper from China? I know why people are panicking. It's because there's what do you call it, people? I haven't even talked about that. Multi-forming came on screen.
You didn't read that last part right. It says, despite 90% of the toilet paper coming from the U.S., Canada, and Mexico.
90% of it coming from U.S., Canada, and Mexico. Okay, thank you. Also, a lot of the shit is coming out of Mexico. Right. Our toilet paper, 90% of it does not come from China. It comes from Canada, which you can drive it here. No longshoremen needed. Mexico, no longshoremen needed. I've tried using that Mexican toilet paper. It was spicy. My butt hurt. I felt like I was paying taxes twice as much. It was terrible. Anyways, thank you very much. The longshoremen strike. America is pissed the fuck off about that. And I read many opinions, and I hope the Democrats see who they are and who they support. These unions are not needed anymore. Let me tell you what the best union is that we have. It should be, rather, what we should have is a representative government that looks out not for the government. It should be representatives that look out not for the businesses, but for us, the people. And the government should be able to say, hey, that corporation, that business, that field of endeavor, that is wrong. And go about passing a law properly, lawfully, that addresses the situation. Instead, what do we have? Unions saying, literally coming out and saying, we're going to create a problem for all of America and everyone's going to get screwed over it because we want more money. Now, over in China, I believe, their ports, or at least one of them, is 100% artificial intelligence controlled. I don't even think that's true. I think it's just people with remote controls at their desks operating the equipment. In other words, people aren't needed. We don't need longshoremen. We don't need thuggish, mafia-controlled unions. Right, Nancy Pelosi? We don't need thuggish, mob-controlled unions fucking America up. We don't need that. A lot of people are now waking up going, what, unions are doing this? Unions are causing this? Yeah, Democrats are unions. Unions are Democrats. Democrats are unions. Unions are Democrats. And don't worry, if you belong to a union, the Democrats don't really give a fuck about you either. They don't. All those jobs gone overseas, south of the border, American jobs leaving America, union jobs leaving America because of Democrats. But the unions here in America are too fucking stupid to see that even. Look, they're not driving forklifts because they just missed passing their physician's license. And I'm not making fun of people for having a less than 150 IQ. What I'm saying is, regular everyday people, yeah, we are just regular everyday people like me. You're not going to get paid what a doctor gets paid. And you shouldn't get paid what a doctor gets paid. Because you're not a doctor. You should get paid what you get paid for doing what you do. I actually think American doctors get paid disproportionately well also. But that's just me. That is just me. Okay, Mr. Ooman, I don't know how many people I've pissed off with that rant. Mikey G steps up and says, Samson response coming from Israel. Iran proved their missiles can get through the Iron Dome. And rumor has it they have at least 3 atomic bombs. Okay, let's start with this shit, shall we? Armageddon. They've actually got Samson. They called their bomb Samson. Do they have a big wig on top of there, like a big missile mullet? Ooh, man, do they have a missile mullet on those Samsons?
The Samson response is total annihilation if they start losing it's like protect themselves at all costs kind of thing.
Well, no, I definitely understand that. But Samson was used against the Philistines, not the... Am I getting too biblical here?
I think you're reading too much into that.
Yeah, Samson's, his strength from God came through his hair. Right. Kind of like the Merovingians. Anyways, so Delilah cut his hair off, and then they were able to take him hostage. But he got strong one more time and broke the palace and brought the thing down on the Philistines. Anyways, back to today and reality. The Iron Dome is the missile defense system that Israel has. And if you didn't know, the U.S. government was going to try and buy this system from Israel for our country. Why would we need to buy theirs when we should have our own? Anyways, none of these systems work against hypersonic missiles. Hypersonic missiles which can now be tipped with nuclear weapons. So these missiles that are coming in, folks, are old school missiles. And Israel can't stop them. It's my understanding they've launched so many missiles into Israel, they're out of Iron Dome defense missiles. So now Iran proved their missiles can get through. You say they have at least 3 atomic bombs, atomic or nuclear? Which one? Is this Iran has 3? I'm pretty sure Israel has a few dozen at least. But here's the deal. I think Israel is not going to just waylay Iran. I think if they launched nukes at Iran, that would be very, very bad. It would be bad for the world. Because they'd be killing a lot of innocent people. I think they're going to use strategic targeting because it gives the appearance that they're not a bunch of evil bastards. Even though half the planet thinks Israel are evil bastards, I don't like any of this shit, and I don't want any American men or women dying for Israel or for Ukraine. Right? Life is more important than the political will of people like Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi. So now, if the rumor is that Iran, the radical, crazy, jihad Joe, super religious wacko fucksticks, those types of guys, it is my opinion that if they have any nuclear weapons, they would probably use them in retaliation to Israel, for Israel retaliating for Hezbollah shooting those missiles in last night, because Israel took out some of the Hamas and Hezbollah leaders. Because have we gotten enough tit for tat on this shit? It's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and every time we need to ratchet it up, right? Now, there should be a lot of happy Hezbollah members out there. Look at all of the people being promoted to leadership positions. Every time these fucking leaders, so-called military leaders and commanders in Hezbollah get killed, the lower guys get promoted up. How lucky is that? Promoting from within, that always makes organizations happy. And I'm laughing at them because they're fucking terrorists, folks, and they don't see the irony of what they're doing. They're all bringing about their own deaths. Do you see it that way? What I do not want is them to bring about my death. That's what I don't want. Okay, let us continue. Uman, who's next? Rock Valley Ready. He says this about the debate last night. I liked the fact JD kept blaming camel toes for the housing and border crisis. I think that was a critical part of his approach, is to constantly take any accusations coming from shit-stained walls, twinkle toes, or the moderators, and flipping it around on them. You know, they want to talk about inflation. I agree with you, Tim. You are right. This inflation caused by Kamala is awful. We need to fix the border that your boss caused. Kamala, you joined that team. That's the side you're on. Border crisis, housing crisis, inflation crisis, everything. In fact, I think he actually said that about the housing, the cost of housing, whether rent or buy. Right? I agree with you. We got a problem there, Tim. If you hadn't let in 20 million fucking illegals, we wouldn't have this problem. It's Kamala's fault. Putting the blame intelligently and consistently where it belonged was great. Thank you, Rock Valley Ready. Ooh, man. Where do we want to go next? And it's name redacted, back in the house. And he says, did anyone notice Twinkle Toes Tampon Timmy's reverence for Gina and his obviously zipped lip about it, just like the controlled athletes? And why, of all places, was he there to study them? Got kind of a two-parter here. Did anyone notice Tampon Timmy's reverence for China? Oh, no, he loves the Gina. Yeah, he's not going to talk bad about Gina because he's visited them dozens of times, allegedly as a teacher. Why would anyone in the United States of America need to go to Gina dozens and dozens of times? For what purpose? He's that interested in their culture? Did Tampon Timmy marry a Chinese woman? No, no. But Mitch McConnell did. He secured a nice connection there in China, didn't he? Anyways, back to Tampon Timmy. Of all the places, what is he doing there? You know, there's just everything about Tim Walz is disgusting. It's terrifying and terrible that his family supports Trump, and he's the only one. Something went wrong with that guy. I think he got dropped on his head a few too many times. His drunk driving. And then he was arrested for drunk driving and pretended to be deaf. He he culturally appropriated deafness in an effort to get out of being held accountable. I don't know how being deaf means it's okay to be drunk driving. Okay, then of course there's the whole horse semen thing. That's just freaky. The fact that he wants children to cut their genitals off. He wants children to be transgender. He wants children groomed and sexualized. There's a lot of problems with Tampon Timmy. He is a Marxist. He is a communist. He made sure that Minnesota burned. Minneapolis specifically and most noted over the St. George Floyd riots. Woo! But yeah, for some reason, he's very interested in China. I really believe that China, the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, has been bribing and extorting American politicians for not just years, but decades to get to the point where they're doing this. We need to kick China out of our country. All land purchased by China in this country needs to be purchased back at the same price it was purchased for, and to just ask them to leave. I can't buy property in China. No, I don't think American government would be allowed to buy property in China. So short of embassies, Chinese embassies, I don't think they should control any real estate here. It is too dangerous, especially since they bought up so much farmland and land next to military bases. Very odd. And I don't like them being here. I don't like the United Nations here either. It's been a few years, but I remember back during the lockdowns that United Nations healthcare workers were in this country stating that, well, anywhere the United Nations is, the Constitution doesn't count. So don't be talking about your constitutional rights to any of those United Nations fucksticks. All right, enough on that. Ooh, man, next. Let's do it. Let's get me going. And Mikey G says, China has testicles everywhere. The Confucius education centers on every college. Those should be closed and anyone who works in them deported. Nicely. I don't want to put them in a shipping container. I want to put them on a plane that China supplies and China pays for the fuel for, and then fly them back home to China. I do. Get them out of here. We don't need Chinese Confucianism here. Now, I do appreciate Chinatown. I love Chinese food. Well, I like Japanese food and sushi. I like Japanese gardens here in America. I like the culture where it comes here, and it is not anti-American. I like cultures that come here from other parts of the world, not just Asia, aka the Orient. That's right, the Orient and Asia. They just need to be law and order, understand our Constitution, culture, and everything, and not be assholes like all these whacked out jihad Joes. By the way, there is 1 mile, 2 miles from the fabled Prepared Mind bunker is a grocery store with Asian writing of some sort, Asian alphabet writing up there, as well as the words Oriental Grocery. They call themselves Oriental. I love it. Makes me very happy. and I laugh a lot every time I drive by it because they don't have any problem calling their Asian selves Oriental. All right, Uman, who's next? Much of these overly worried, sissified, woke fucksticks. Uman says, Babylon Bee. The Babylon Bee is a parody website, folks, parody organization. The Babylon Bee reporting he meant to say he was at the Tiananmen Square Chinese buffet in Omaha, Nebraska. That was a great one. I did see that one. That was fucking awesome. No, I didn't mean I was at the Tiananmen Square. I was at the Tiananmen Square Chinese buffet. Yeah, in Omaha. Good golly. Thank you, Mr. Uman, for that. Next, let's just hammer through this. Good times. Badass diving frog is in the house, and he says, John, doctors aren't doctors. They are drug dealers. I'll tell you what, there is a lot of evidence to suggest that your argument is valid. Uman and I were discussing physicians the other day and the difference between good ones and bad ones and the ones we've talked to and seen. And the ones that push drugs are drug dealers. They get kickbacks. Remember, here's what a physician does. He's got his little physician's notepad. He's like, I'll take good care of you here, Mr. John. Let's see, I'm Dr. Phil, and Mr. John needs a 3-month subscription of, high blood pressure medicine. The blood thinner. And then also, you seem to be a little uptight. We're going to get you some what's your favorite antidepressant? Fuck it. I'll just give you a little bit of each. You tell me which one you like, works best in 3 months. Come back in. And it's got his name on there, Dr. Phil. You give that to the pharmacist, and they write in their computer to the pharmaceutical industry, whatever company it is, whether it's AstraZeneca or Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, doesn't matter which. And they know what doctor is prescribing what drugs to who. Maybe they don't give you a name, but they're like, aha, Dr. Phil really pushing those antidepressants. Good job, buddy. And he gets kickbacks. They're drug dealers. But there are physicians out there that actually care about people. They're still out there. I think it's important that you try and find those for your own safety, your own good health. Apparently, speaking of drug dealers, Matthew Perry's Matthew Perry's doctor, Matthew Perry from Friends, who's dead. Apparently, he OD'd on ketamine. And he has now pled guilty for his role in the overdose death of Matthew Perry. Ketamine, I believe, is a horse tranquilizer. Whoopsie-daisy. He has now joined the ranks of Michael Jackson and Prince and others who have been killed by their fucking physicians. Wow. Let's see, what else have we got here? There's this organization called Able Child. I think they're worried about, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think they are worried about the fact that there's so much mental health issue in this country, especially amongst children. Because there was a mental health crisis discussion during the debate. No one's getting better. For decades, pharmaceutical companies and physicians and psychiatrists have been shoveling out antidepressants. And what do we have? A mental health crisis in this country. Have you seen the liberals on the internet? Have you seen them pounding their heads on the wall, smacking themselves in the face, throwing absolute tizzy fits, not because they don't like what other people think and believe? Unbelievable. Crazy, crazy ass shit. And speaking of mental health crises, before I hang up the phone with you guys, I'll on MSNBC, the panel last night with just lost their shit. They just lost their shit, screaming and yelling because J.D. Vance did so well. Absolutely hilarious. Hilarious, I tell you. Folks, get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Get your plan together. Make sure you have a lot of whatever you need to get through. Let's just say you lost your power for a week. You lost your power for a month. You weren't able to get food for 3 days, a week, a month. Can you imagine, provided your house didn't wash away with you in it during this hurricane flooding up in the Carolinas and Tennessee? Can you imagine yourself in their position? Your road is cut off, a bridge is cut off, there's no power. You've got no electricity from power companies. How would you fare in that situation? You could be in a small town. You don't necessarily have to be on some remote mountaintop, just a small town. How would you do? Would you be able to get by? It took a couple hours during the power outage from the hurricane down here in Florida. I was like, hey, what am I going to do for entertainment? Oh, I know. Cards, board games. Oh, I know. Reading. Right, stuff like that. In any event, folks, we're up. We're done. I will be back tomorrow morning, 0:30. I'll be back for tomorrow. I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. You guys, I hope you're feeling well, and I hope you are prepared because chance favors the prepared mind. See you soon.